What's up YouTube, this is Image Bro, and for this video we are going to be discussing an anime which I actually hold in a very high regard. The anime is Purinsu-sama, and we are going to be doing this for our Crunchyroll series. So sit back and take a seat because we're going to be here for a little bit. What is Purinsu-sama about? Well, we're going to focus on the anime here because I could go on for about an hour between the games and the anime. But the anime is about a young girl named Haruka Nanami who wants to become a composer. So she enrolls at the very prestigious Saotome Academy. And as she goes in there, she meets 6 individuals who will come on to be a very important part of her life. Well, I say 6, but by the time we get to season 2, is it 7? Here's the thing you really need to understand about this series. Its story is actually very well done. The way they introduce the characters is also well done in that it seems like they give them to you all in one shot, which, believe me, after I was watching the first season, I was like, slow the fuck down! But I watched season 1, and what was funny was, even when I went back and I watched season 1 for the review, I remembered every character's name before they were introduced. That is one of the big things that anime makes a good anime should make you do. Before they introduce to you the freaking character, you should know who they are. You know what I'm saying? Even if you've only watched the series once, you should know, by the time you go back to watch it again, before they introduce that character to you, you already know who they are. All you do is hear the sound of their voice. I'm actually surprised with A1 Studios because, okay, now, I don't want to split hairs here. They had an animation style that they used for seasons 1 and season 2 of Utapri. I'm surprised they really didn't use that for Black Butler a bit more. Like they kind of did later in the series, but it seemed like, to me, they didn't really. It almost seems like they went back a little bit when they were doing Black Butler, because this seemed a hell of a lot better to me. And this one, remember, season 1 came out, let me think, what is this, 2014? It came out about 3 years ago. Okay? I want you to think about that for a minute. It came out about 3 years ago. And I would rather have the animation that they used here as opposed to what they did in Black Butler. But anyway, I'm not saying Black Butler is bad. I'm just saying the animation of Black Butler is bad. I'm just saying that's just my opinion. Anywho, the character development is actually really, really well done. Like, okay, and now we'll get into we'll start to get into some of the real mechanics of this. In season 1, they give you a character in Haruka who she starts off flustered because obviously she's in a very prestigious school. She wants to become a composer, and here she is, she's trying to make it, and it's so goddamn hard. Like, you've literally no idea how hard it is for her at this point. It's ridiculous. Like, you feel for her. Then you have these other characters who all come from different backgrounds in many respects. Like, you know how when you were watching maybe I don't know, Lacorda. In some of those cases, all the students, like in the first season of Lacorda, all the students were like from really well-to-do families, and then you had the one who was the commoner, who was, Hino Kahoko. Remember that? By the way, interesting parallel is Kisho Taniyama, who played Len Tsukamori in that series, plays Natsuki Shinomiya in this one. Just thought I would bring that up for you. But the thing of it was, you know, they all came virtually from the same background. The people that were in the thing outside of OK2. Ryutaro and Ryutaro Shichiro and Hino Kahoko. Alright. You go to this series, right? Yes, okay. You have maybe Ren you have Ren and Masato, they come from the background they come from, which is conglomerates, but they want to go into music. Then you have someone like a Toki, you find out through the course of the series and also the OVA that he lost his mother when he was younger and he never knew his father. So look at the way he is. You look at a character like, say, Cecil, and he's a prince, legitimately a prince. And, as you notice, he has his background. You have these characters that have a background, and they tell you about them, and it's your job to learn about them and really give a shit. Well, they do that. They also enforce the rule, and they make sure that you remember it, that idols and composers aren't allowed to date. You can be friends, but no love allowed. Now, I know that sounds like a stupid rule, considering that they're classmates, but it all makes sense in the end, because actually in this case, I think it actually helps their character development. I think in this case, if characters were in relationships, like legitimately in relationships, it may have stunted their character growth and development, because they'd be worried about, you're dating so-and-so, why, blah, blah, blah. And then you spend an entire episode arguing that away. Here, they told a story in each episode about a character. Okay? And that was maybe the first 5 after the intro episode. Then you get to, we'll say, episodes 8 through 13, and you're starting to build closer and closer towards the main goal of the season. In season 1 is to try and get to the supergroup at the end. At the end of season 2, it's to try to beat a rival. Okay? That's your goal. They found a way to build to that plot, to build to that goal. And they did it, in my opinion, better than most series that are maybe one season and 50 episodes. Think about that for a second. Put it this way. I've seen series which were 20-some episodes that were one season long, and they couldn't develop a character properly to save their life, because they couldn't develop the story right to save their life. Go back and look at my Pandora Hearts review. What was the one thing I really condemned that series for? Do you remember? I said that in that series, they had this story so scattershot, so all over the place, that to try and really get behind a character, you couldn't do it. That was just my opinion, because the character development was all over the goddamn place. Here, they built you to where they need to get you to. They got you to really like characters, and they actually did get you to, in some respects, not like a character. In my case, it was the authority figure in Ringo, because of the way he acted. And yes, it is a he. You'll probably watch this and go, "That's a guy?" Yeah, it is. The way he acted towards Nanami being bullied would kind of go, "Ooh, I don't like him." No, seriously, that's literally the way I feel about that character anymore. It has nothing to do with, the fact that he, whatever, that's not even relevant. But, every character has a unique quirk. Some may have frail bodies, some may have personality conflicts. No, literally personality conflicts. Some may have double lives they led. Some may have eventually had family issues that they dealt with. Do you see what I'm saying? Every season, or every character had either a mental or physical goal or block that they had to overcome through the course of the season. And they did it in such a way that you go, alright. The music is phenomenal. If you want me to grant or to give you a recommendation for some songs to listen to, let me think here. Look up the song "Knocking on My Mind" by Masato Hijikawa. Here we go again. Rikawa. If I can pronounce that right today. Believe me, it's bleh. And also go look up from season 1, Nanero no Compass from Ichino's Takoya or Mamoru Mayano. If you want another one, from season 2, let's go now. See if you can find this one, Dreamer's Symphony, or go look up Crystal Time from Mamoru Mayano, or go look up Fantasia of the Stars by Cecil Ajima. Any of those will do you, trust me. Or if you really want another good one, go look up one from the Christmas OVA, which I'll talk about in a second, called Shining Star Christmas. And by the way, that's Christmas XMAS. You may not find it on here though. But each episode of each season, and season 2 was a bit different. Season 2, they did add new characters. They added Cecil, who appeared in season 1, but they also added 4 more characters called the Quartet Knight, which were Ai, Reiji, Ramoro, Camus. Each one of them were assigned a group of, or a pair of juniors. For example, Reiji got, who did he get? Give me a sec. Oh, he got Atoya and Takoya. I got Shiro and Natsuki, and my God, was that hysterical. See, let me tell you a little something about I. I'm a guy that's just, actually, how do I explain this? I is actually a, android. So, he's not a human. Okay? And the first thing he does within like 30 seconds of moving into the dorm with, Seo and Natsuki is he's busting Seo about his height. And I'm sitting here going, really? Whoa, okay. But you get through the comedy and you actually find that again they build the story up. Just like they did in season 1, except in season 2, the stories in many respects can become a bit more personal. Like I mentioned with Ren, in season 2, it's about his brother. Back in season 1, his story was he really didn't want to be in the school anymore. He was only doing it because his brother was making him go, pretty much. He wanted to drop out, but because of Nanami, he didn't. He didn't give up. You see what I'm saying? You look at someone like Ichino's. In season 1, he was living a double life. He was Ichino's Tokoya at the school, but he was also Hayato, the person that inspired Nanami in the first place, out in the public. But he eventually decided he was going to just go to school and try and become Ichino's Tokoya, the idol. But by season 2, it almost was flipped. He became again the savior of Haruka. Do you see what I'm saying? Then of course we have Natsuki, who dealt with his own personal demons, i.e. dealing with his Gemini syndrome and his other evil half, excuse me, known as Satsuki. Yeah, believe me when I tell you, that's a dude you don't want to mess with. You see what I'm saying? Each season built to something. By the end of season 2, we were dealing with them facing off against a rival idol group from another agency, and the person happened to be a rival that was ran by a rival of Shining Saotome, President Saotome. So you had that story, and then of course in the OVA, because they weren't really doing anything really special, what they did was they told you a lot about the characters and where they grew up and their upbringings and the types of things they did as a kid when they were celebrating Christmas. Like Natsuki, he actually grew up on a farm, believe it or not. Masato and Ren, because they were part of the conglomerates, they were always going to different functions. Of course, Satoki, he had his situation, and you just learned a lot about the characters. That's what makes a really freaking good series, kids. If you give me the character development, if you give me the plot development, if you give me a good story, I don't give a fuck. Hell, the animation wasn't half bad either, like I said. I strongly recommend that you do yourself a favor over this Christmas break, because we won't be back with another video on this channel till about January the 6th. So, here's my suggestion for you guys on your Christmas break. Go sit down, go watch this series. It is 27 episodes if you count the OVA. 26 if you just do the first 2 seasons. It is amazing the way they managed to do the story and develop the characters. There's not one character in this series you're not going to give a shit about. You're going to like them all. You're either going to like them all, or you're going to find the ones to hate because you don't like their personality, or you're going to not like them because of something else. It's going to be impossible not to care about somebody, and that's the beauty of it. The music ain't bad either. For fear of making this video another 30 minutes, I'm not going to name all the songs or go look up the artist, but go if you go on SoundCloud, or hell, even if you go on a site called 8 Tracks. That's 8, the number 8 tracks, one word. And look up Udapri and just listen to the music on there. You'll love it. I guarantee you'll love it. And if you don't, I can't help you. It's really good stuff, trust me. But please go watch Udapri. I'm not even going to rate it, I'm just going to tell you, you definitely should be watching it. And, like I said, the next time I see you will be January the 6th. On January the 6th, we will start our first impressions for the winter season. Yes. And we'll be starting with one called Cute High Earth Defense Force. That should be interesting. But anywho, I will talk to you all then. So until then, my friends, I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Take care now.